Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today. We're going to unpack a classic, really charming fable that, at first glance, might feel like a simple fairy tale. But it actually holds a surprisingly modern mirror up to how we handle new, misunderstood ideas. We're looking at the story of the magic horse. It's a tale about an adventurous prince, a high mountain rescue, and a king's realization about hasty judgments. It lets us visually map out the psychology of innovation, the clash between tradition and progress, and how fear can just completely blind us to incredible potential. So get comfortable and let's unravel this whole shebang together. Okay, let's dive into this. What happens when a kingdom's greatest invention is locked away just out of pure fear? It's a pretty powerful thought, isn't it? In any society, whether we're talking about an ancient kingdom or a modern tech hub, there's always this tension between the comfort of the known and the perceived danger of the unknown. When an invention drops that completely shatters the status quo, the immediate reaction is almost never widespread acceptance. It's usually skepticism. And if that skepticism goes unchecked, it morphs into a very real, very paralyzing fear. In our source material today, this fear literally dictates policy. It drives a massive wedge between what a society currently is and the incredible heights of what it could become. To really understand how this happens, we need to look at the key players here. Our story kicks off many years ago with a king. Now, this king oversees a highly stable, very predictable kingdom, but he also has a son, an adventurous prince who looks at the world not for what it is, but for what it could be. And the absolute catalyst for our entire explainer sits right in the shadowy corners of their royal stable. It's a magic horse. One day, the adventurous prince decides, hey, I'm going to go for a walk with this magic horse. He doesn't see a threat at all. He sees a marvel of creation. He feels totally drawn to the sheer possibility of what this incredible piece of machinery can actually achieve. But his father had a completely different reaction. While the prince viewed this as just a curiosity, an innocent adventure, the king's view was starkly negative. He was incredibly upset. And why? Because he assumed, without a single shred of proof, mind you, that using the magic horse was inherently harmful to his kingdom. He looked at a literal breakthrough and saw only a breakdown of his carefully maintained order. His reaction was so swift, and his fear of the unknown was so incredibly potent that he hastily locked the invention away and literally imprisoned the horse's brilliant inventor. He chose to just shut down progress entirely, all to feel a fleeting sense of safety.
But hey, you can't keep a good invention down. Let's move to and see how this builds, especially when an adventurous prince is involved. Defying the king's strict orders and overwhelming fears, the magic horse takes the prince right on its back, and in just a single minute, they are literally flying into the sky. It is a breathtaking ascent. An hour later, this incredible flight stops at the very peak of a high, super remote mountain. And by hour 2, the adventure takes a much darker turn. The prince discovers a wicked witch living on that desolate peak. And not only that, but this witch has actually imprisoned the beautiful princess of a neighboring kingdom. But right here is where the bandit invention proves its true worth. By hour 3, utilizing the unique flying capabilities of the magic horse, the prince successfully outmaneuvers the witch and frees the captive princess. It's this thrilling sequence of events, and it was all made possible by the exact thing the king tried to hide away in the dark.
Following that intense high-altitude rescue, things kind of slow down a bit as they make their descent back to reality. The prince, alongside the rescued princess of the neighboring kingdom, returns safely to the palace courtyard. Now, just imagine the scene at the palace gates for a second. The king, who was undoubtedly worried sick about his missing son and terrified of this magical contraption, is suddenly just washed over with immense relief. He sees his son alive. But more than that, he experiences a really profound internal conflict. The very invention he deemed a mortal threat to his kingdom was the exact vehicle of his son's safe return, not to mention a neighboring princess's salvation. He's standing there, staring right at the machine he feared, carrying the son he loves. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the prince's direct dialogue with his father. When the king inevitably asks why, the prince answers with this beautiful, earnest logic. He doesn't just celebrate his own victory, he actually advocates for the unfairly judged creator. He explains that it was strictly because of the magic horse that the neighboring princess was freed. He provides undeniable, tangible proof to counter the king's completely baseless fear. He guarantees his father, this horse will not harm our kingdom but will benefit it. He's methodically replacing the king's fearful assumptions with documented facts and witnessed benefits. He's proving that innovation, when guided properly, is a tool for tremendous good. And this brilliantly illustrates the anatomy of a changed mind. You see, it doesn't just happen magically. It happens sequentially. First, it starts with emotional grounding. The king is relieved by the safe return. And because he feels safe, his defensive walls are finally lowered. Second, he actually listens to the truth of the mountain rescue. He absorbs this brand new data without prejudice. Third, he takes corrective action based on that new data. He frees the unfairly imprisoned inventor, righting a past wrong. And finally, we reach full integration. The magic horse isn't just accepted, it's actively used for various purposes throughout the whole kingdom. The so-called controversial threat has officially become a foundational tool for their entire society.
Which brings us right to the core thesis of this entire story. It is not right to judge hastily. Let's just pause and let that timeless wisdom sink in for a second. The king realized his mistake. He almost robbed his kingdom of a tremendous asset, and he unfairly punished a brilliant mind, all because he let his initial anxiety dictate his judgment. He judged the magic horse before he ever took the time to understand what it could actually do. It's a really powerful reminder that our first instinct when faced with something revolutionary is often just self-preservation. But true leadership and true growth require patience, observation, and a genuinely open mind. So, the crucial point is, how does this apply to you? What magic horse or new idea have you locked away due to a hasty judgment? Think about it. Maybe it's a new technology you stubbornly refuse to learn, a new workflow at your job that just feels a bit too disruptive, or even a novel concept proposed by a friend or colleague that you dismissed simply because it felt, alien to you at first glance. The story of the adventurous prince and the fearful king challenges us to unlock our own stables. It challenges us to look at the unknown not as a guaranteed threat, but as a potential vehicle for incredible breakthroughs. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and I'll see you next time.